NERDSoul.
Lay ill kid at OneYoungsta holding down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Let's go because we got Ghostbusters. That's right, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and we ain't by ourselves. That's right. I have the visionary. All right, uh, captain of the ship of 133 Art. I give to you. That's right, Jason Reeves. What's up?
Wazam!
All right, we here to talk some Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It's the spoiler time. As I said, there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to get into, but I didn't want to, for anyone who didn't, see it through the weekend or hadn't seen it yet, I ain't want to just be dropping all kinds of information, even though I know Twitter just didn't care, but they ain't how I do. You know what I'm saying? I try to wait, give y'all a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody can't see it soon like me.
Give everybody a little breathing room. Let them see it.
Yeah, let them go and peep it out real quick. And unless it's something that's on like Netflix or something, then I'm like, all right, bro, you can see it whatever. But all right, I'm gonna throw it to you. Mr. Reeves, how did you feel coming out of the theater about Ghostbusters?
I actually felt good. I kind of needed a little escapism last week. So I feel good coming out watching that. I wouldn't call myself a super fan of the Ghostbusters franchise, but I do really like it, right? Like, I think I'm more of a comic book movie guy. Like, my first choice is always like comic book movies or like Fast and Furious type stuff. But I do like Ghostbusters, right? Like, not to a Star Wars fan degree, Star Wars fans be crazy, but I do like it, and I thought this one was really good in a sense of how there's building into the universe. They're building their world building, and I thought their world building was pretty good for me. As a person that likes Ghostbusters, as a person that watched the cartoon as a kid, I always wanted them to world build that universe, like sort of make it bigger than just the original 4 Ghostbusters. And they've done that with the previous movie and especially with this movie. So I think it's a good entry into the franchise. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh yeah, I dig this. I want more. Like, one of my favorite episodes of the cartoon is the Sam Hain episodes.
Yo, was it like when Halloween Never Ends or something like that? The Sam Hain episodes were really good.
Yeah, Sam Hain is a good villain for the Ghostbusters. And what I really liked about those episodes, there's one where the junior Ghostbusters get involved and they have like their little go-kart and they're like they're busting ghosts with like pumpkins and a slingshot, and it sort of expands what they can do with the universe. So this movie felt like the Sam Hain episodes of the cartoon, in my opinion. And I'm a big continuity guy. So I like the idea of generations of Ghostbusters, right? Like, I think that's a really cool thing. I like having the old guys there, but then the new guys are doing all the work. I think it was dope. I enjoyed it. I had fun.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun too. Matter of fact, I'd like to stop real quick and say that my prophecy came true. Nah, I had a theory. I had a theory because when I saw the ball, the orb that Nadine brought to Ray, I was like, okay, I got a theory, y'all. I was like, all right, check it. Way back in the days, you know what I'm saying? Ghosts didn't just come out. Ghosts always existed, right? So somebody had to deal with these like entities and stuff way back in the day. So I was like, maybe this is how they trapped ghosts back then, and like this dude unknowingly like is just letting it loose because he ain't know that his family line was like some special ghost people or something like that. And boom, what I told y'all, man. I told y'all. See, I be seeing that. You know what I'm saying? But nah, I will agree with the sort of the building on the just the Ghostbusters-ness of it all, as well as the universe. Like we build on the universe, like, all right, this is what's going on with New York, this is going on with the Ghostbusters, but then also the way ghostbusting has been going on, it some people might call it primitive, some people might call it old school or whatever, but this is a problem that has been getting solved for centuries. And
Right.
y'all thought y'all was new, and it's like no, we've been actually doing this.
Right. Because ghosts exist, right? Like spirits and demonic forces exist. Somebody had to take care of them back in the day before we had proton packs.
Yep, somebody had to do something. So then expanding further on the supernatural and like the pyrokinesis with the fire master and everything, I was like, you know what? I'm digging this. I'm interested to see where we go. And even though it seemed, I've seen a lot of people say that the first half of the movie or the first hour or whatever, they weren't digging because it was so slow. I actually was very interested in the first half, because in the first half of the film, I'm sitting there like, hey, this is a nice little detective story we got going on.
Well, that's where the world building was, right? Like they spent a lot of time building out Winston's taking more interest in the Ghostbusters because of the other movie, right? So they spent a lot of time saying, okay, in these 2 years since the last movie, Winston is like, yo, I need to use my resources to help, my people, right? So let me build this consortium or this, this other wing of, I forget what his company is called, but let me build this so that they have the resources to bust ghosts, because this is world killing stuff. When it gets thick, we need resources for my people. We can't just have the firehouse, right? So I thought that first hour and a half or whatever was really good at like building that out. I was intensely involved. I always thought that we need some more Ghostbusters or some more support Ghostbuster type people. Like the movie basically tells us, we can't just have the one containment trap. Like it's getting full. And every time somebody messes with the firehouse, we open up a portal to the other worlds or whatever. And we need deterrence. So I thought I was enjoying it.
And then, of course, us knowing that, like, the old stuff mattering. So, like, it's like, hey, remember the first time they busted open the containment unit? Well, ever since then, there's been a thin connection, like, beyond the veil or whatever at this point. And it, like, just knowing that, hey, this stuff matters. There's been implications, and then hearing like, oh, in the 90s when we didn't own the firehouse, like all the copper was strip mined, like that kind of stuff. Like, it's like all of these things. Like, oh wow, like okay, cool. So there's been highs and lows for this building. And even when they first kind of encounter the problem with the ghost. Like with the ghost trap or whatever, like when it starts shaking and stuff, it's like, this ain't supposed to do this, is it?
Right.
I don't think it's supposed to do this.
Right.
I think like Phoebe said, like no one thought that this, but of course Janine was like, man, it was the 80s.
Right. Nobody cared about the future.
Or like when I tell my son, I'm like, I was born in the 1900s. All right, it's a different time.
I think a smart movie takes all of that into consideration, and I thought that, like, because it's true. Number one, like it's sort of tongue in cheek for the franchise in general, right? Because I feel like fans of the old movies should, they got people that be mad to be mad, but fans of the old movies should feel that, because that's what it was, right? Even if we're fans of Ghostbusters 84, but there's a lot of stuff that wasn't taken into account that we actually take into account these days as far as world building and writing movies and stuff like that. So in the 80s, you don't have to think about a lot of that. You didn't have to think about a lot of that stuff, and you could make a good movie. You didn't have to take into account a lot of issues. Like I always say now, in thinking about especially world building and things of that nature, I'm always like, I like pseudoscience better than actual science in my movies. I prefer mad science to actual hard sci-fi that has to, has to take into account the actual science of the time and all that. I prefer that because it's easier to write, and in my opinion, better. It relates better to writing a story, right? Mm-hmm. And I think her saying that is kind of taking that into account. Like, yeah, man. And back in the day, we had to think about all that. We weren't. That's not where we were at.
We was just trying to make money,
right? And now we are though. So we gotta. So Winston has to build out this world, right? Or further give us the resources to bust these ghosts. I also like the idea. And I've always liked the idea. And again, that goes back to the Sam Hain, the Sam Hain episodes, and goes back to Ghostbusters Extreme, that cartoon with the newer Ghostbusters, building more ghost busting tech. Mm-hmm. You're 25% there if you could show me some new competent Ghostbusters tech. Because adding a trap with adding a flying trap is brilliant. Like, that's smart. A bigger trap that we can remote control, a drone trap, dope idea, right?
Yeah, because even that little RC trap that they had in Afterlife, I was like, you know what? Okay. I was like, okay. Makes sense. But, okay, I can roll with that.
So the cool thing is, when we're talking about the mains in the firehouse, it's always gonna be goofy, low tech ways to bust ghosts. And to me, those two things are really cool, goofy, low tech ways to bust ghosts. But then the world building of having that other facility, that's the high tech way to bust ghosts. And you have your cake and eat it too, according to what we need to write for each new Ghostbusters installment. Yeah. Brilliant, in my opinion, right?
I really dug like the way, even Winston, the excitement around, he's like, all right, I wanted to hold this for y'all, but come on, I got something to show y'all.
Yeah.
And so
I love it.
The whole tech side of like, hey, we've been busting ghosts all this time, so now we can study them, figure out the ins and outs, and then also seeing how they're extracting spirits from from cursed objects and stuff, like just those types of things where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Like, so you can just take this out of it, and now this this doll or this book or whatever is just now returned to its original state. It's just a book. You don't have to worry about it no more. Everything's cool.
Right. The study of ghosts, right? We need to know how to better take these things out. We need to know how to better place them too, because the movie tells us at some point these traps will be filled. There's a finite amount of ghosts we can put there, but there's potentially an infinite amount of spirits that we have to take care of, especially when we keep opening portals to other worlds.
Yeah, so, especially if no one figures out sort of the whole thing with Egon and also with Melody in this movie,
right? Kind
of figuring out a way for them to cross over,
right? And we can have rules that are based in pseudoscience, but also based in the supernatural. I think the movie just had a good balance of integrating everything that Ghostbusters is about, from the goofy to the high sci-fi, rolled it up into one little ball in an entertaining little movie. I don't need it to be, I don't need it to be 2001. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need it to be the greatest movie of all time, Citizen Kane or whatever. I just need to be quick fun, 2 hours, and I go to the movies with characters I love. I'm engaged. So I think the movie did a great job of doing that. Ghostbusters lore is fire to me. Like, I think it's one of the reason why it's lasted so long is because it's one of the more quirky and innovative and funny narratives and stories that we have in popular culture. And the goofiness has to like continue, but it also has to be satisfying. So I think they did a great job.
And they do it in a way where it's like, ever since the beginning, they've been, I guess, kind of like blue collar heroes. Because it's not like, all right, so like these are heroes, but they're not like Iron Man. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is definitely not Iron Man. They're not Captain America or Wolverine or something like that. They're just like guys.
They don't so they're smart and half of them are scientists, but the cool thing about their blue collarness is that, like, so Tony Stark has to take every variable to heart, right? When he's making an Iron Man suit or saving the world from Thanos, he has to take every variable into account. But the blue collarness of the Ghostbusters kind of gives us that suspension of disbelief that they don't have to do that.
Yeah, they're just
and I think
shooting.
That's really funny. Like, Ray is a brilliant scientist, right? But he doesn't take into account that children might get hurt.
Yeah. And I mean, Winston even reams him out for that. He's like, you could have got hurt. He's like, bro, like we ain't young no more.
But they so blue collar that these are dudes that, like, Winston's like, dude, we in our golden years. Like, we can't always do this. But at the same time, even though Ray's a blue collar guy, or because he's a blue collar guy, he's like, I've taken that into account. And this is what I want to do with my golden years. So I think we can get away with that kind of writing because of the fact that they're blue collar guys. They don't have to be on top of every little thing. And that, again, that's a part of Ghostbusters goofiness. Because, again, yes, maybe Egon would have said, if he was still around, we're gonna need bigger containment units.
Yeah.
Because eventually this is gonna be a problem. And because Egon's not there, he might be the only one that's not as blue collar. We can have this particular story, and the Frozen Empire guy can exploit that, right? Like, so I think the blue collarness and the goofiness allows us to write more stories where they effed it up, and now we got to fix it. And to me, that totally works for the franchise.
Yeah, even with that blue collar thing with Egon, thinking about, all right, they did capture a whole bunch of ghosts out there were they in Oklahoma? They captured a whole bunch of ghosts out there. Are they just still there in that trap, or did they bring them up? Like, what did they do with those? Because Gozer's in there. And that's kind of a big deal. But of course, when you're a blue collar, it's like it's like, it'll be all right. We just leave her down there. It'll be all right.
Well, that's the thing too, right? How much space does Gozer, who's an interdimensional god, versus
as opposed to like Slimer,
somebody like Slimer, right? Who's just like a spirit, I think. Slimer's just like the spirit of like a human that died or something, right?
Yeah.
Or is he some kind of like something like? So there's two different kinds of ghost, quote unquote, deity. There's the demonic. There's regular demonic, then higher in the hierarchy demonic, like Samhain and Gozer, and then there's like Ghost of Humans or whatever. So
I know they classify. I think it's class 1 to 7. I think it's been a while, but I think it's like class 1 to 7.
And
but
so,
thinking of, go ahead.
In the classes, how much space does each one take up? I imagine Gozer takes up a lot of space.
Yeah,
in the containment unit.
And then it's also like, when it comes to those kind of things, do we put someone like Gozer and Garakka in the same, kind of like, like in jail? Like, do we put these two, like, do you want to have this big gang and this big gang in the same jail? Like, is it a smart idea? Like, so you have that stuff going on. But I did want to talk about Garakka, because Garakka is something is one of the reasons why I didn't give the score as high as I could have given it. And not because I don't like garakka, because in my opinion, we should have had more garakka. I think this movie could have been served with an extra 30 minutes. And I know that some people, they'd be like, that's way too long. But I was having a good time. So I could have done 30 more minutes of like garakka being scary and creepy and like maybe controlling ghosts and like, you know, even forcing ghosts to do, or, you know, maybe taking some other people out. Like, because that's probably garakka, and the fact that I think this could have been scarier is what held my review back from like super, like right now I'm at like a 7.5. Like I had a good time, but I wanted some more. But I also know what Sony is looking now after seeing this movie, especially Afterlife and this movie. I see what Sony wants to do with Ghostbusters, so I also understand. Like they want a family kind of time at the theater that's slightly scary, but not enough to make your kid have nightmares. You know,
Right.
So
I get
where
totally.
Sony's going, but I was just like, oh man, I could have used another maybe 30 minutes of being scary and also showing garakka be, you know, the whole reason we scared of him.
I could totally. I agree with you on that. Like I could have used another 30 minutes. You know what they could have used? Another venue where they had a garakka showdown and they lost. Leading up to the last leading up to the last one where, okay, now like the world after
we got to do where we have to use the copper and stuff now.
Yeah.
I mean the brass.
Yeah, so they lose one interaction with him at another venue. That's not the firehouse and that's not the new facility. And then they have to go back and they have to retreat and figure out the copper thing later. I think that would have served the movie. And it didn't even have to be 30 minutes. It could have been 15, 20, right? But I think just showing how formidable this guy is. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree with you. I see why it didn't necessarily happen, but I do agree with you a little more. He's a cool design, cool powers, cool way that he can, you know, control ghosts and create a ghost army in that way. Yeah. All of that was cool. He was really cool. So I agree. I would have loved like some more of him.
Or in that instance where they lose that you're talking about, show him controlling ghosts.
Yeah.
Like show him doing that. And you know, even show like where some ghosts are like not with it. Like even show where some ghosts are like, okay, like I'm bad, but I don't want to be controlled either. Like that kind of thing. Right. And then we could be like, oh, this guy is mad powerful.
Right. What would have been cool is a showdown at the apartment at the fire master's apartment building where like he's not as powerful as he could be yet because he doesn't have his horns, and then they have a showdown there and they lose and he gets the horns, so now he can freeze all of New York, and then they have to deal with him at the firehouse. They have to retreat and regroup at the firehouse, but he's still coming. Yeah, I agree with you there. That would have been dope. And I also thought
the funny thing is, watch us get a director's cut where that stuff happens. And it's because people love director's cuts now.
It's a smart play. And I would have instead of just them finding the brass at the firehouse, I actually it would have been cool. I thought what they were gonna do is go back to his apartment and get the brass from that room. But then I was like, no, because they needed that room to contain him later, but then they didn't do that either. So
yeah, that but I do
also, it might have been good to have a brass containment unit or cover it in brass at the end. Might have been a smart play with him in there.
Yeah, so that I'd like to see that informed on the new, like on the on the next movie. Like, okay, we have our regular proton packs. We got we saw it in the background. They still got the slime shooters. And then we also have the brass packs. Like, so just in case, now we got, like version 1, version 2, and version 3. Like, just in case we got to go to the brass packs, we got those.
Right. Straight up, Sony, like Iron Man, Mark 4, Mark 27, like, and we can walk past them in the Iron Man facilities. Maybe Winston needs to have different proton packs behind glass ready to use, the different types to reference the movie. Because part of this, a big percentage of this is also the nostalgia, right? Mm-hmm. And what better way to keep feeding us nostalgia is to have those things on display. Also, merchandising. So now if I'm a Ghostbusters collector, I absolutely need all those toys or all those proton packs. We got the brass version. We got, you know what I'm saying? We got the Fire Master orb. Like, I think it's, in this instance, capitalism, merchandising, all of that coming together to give the people what they want, I think is a good thing. Like, let's do that. Because this particular IP is rife and fun for that. Like, give us old dudes some Ghostbusters merch and Ghostbusters nostalgia.
Yeah, I'd agree with when it comes to this, the different types of packs make sense, and then also having it available so we can enjoy them, have the different toys and all that good stuff. But yeah, that was the only thing that kind of held me back. I was like, man, I'm digging this. I had fun, but they went the Marvel route of the villain at the end, where it's like the villain ain't really important. It's all about the heroes. And it's like, right. Well, yeah, but like these trailers had Garakka looking boss, and now he's just like gone fast.
But that extra 15-20 minutes too gives us it still gives our heroes time to shine, right? Mm-hmm. But we kind of live that particular showdown in their flaws of not knowing enough, of being blue collar that they don't know enough to beat this particular ghost. Because these Ghostbusters are still learning, right? Yeah. So they're gonna need the guidance of the old guys and the resources of the old guys to defeat this guy. And I think what held my 10 out of 10 review back, because I'm like 8.59 out of 10, because I had a good time, but there were things that I would change. I feel like the old Ghostbusters didn't get a chance to shine as much as they could, and I feel like that extra 15-20 minutes could have gave us young Ghostbusters shining and then needing the help of old Ghostbusters, and then we could give everybody their little moment, because like I was excited when Venkman shows up, and Venkman shows up in the way that he is pre-Firehouse in the old movie, like he's doing his psychic phenomena research or whatever. It was hilarious to me. I thought that was cool. I thought it was a great callback
when he was like, so when you eat a baby, it's like, hold on, what?
I thought it was dope.
Or even when he comes into the firehouse and he opens up this little compartment that had whiskey or whatever in it, I was like, it was so perfectly him that it was like, right. So the end of the world's coming and you're like, yeah, so listen, anybody need some courage? Like that was just funny. So
yeah, he has the sunglasses really on. Like I was like, classic Venkman. So I thought that that extra 15 minutes would have allowed Paul Rudd and the other ones to have a couple moments, but then we could have brought everybody in for their moments when it came to the scope of the characters, of all the characters. And we are in agreement. Like I had a good time.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Mr. Gruberson, Gary, let me Matt, I'll talk about the Spanglers in general, but Gary, it's been 2 years from the movie's admission. It's been 2 years, and I'm gonna drop some knowledge for all the fellas out there and ladies too. Fellas and ladies too. Look, it's been 2 years. You guys have to clearly define what y'all are gonna be, because as you can see in this movie, y'all are having problems trying to figure out what y'all role is supposed to. It's been 2 years. I can see if it's been 2 weeks, 2 months, but it's been 2 years, y'all. Come on, now. Y'all got to figure out what y'all gonna do. Cause see, now you got Phoebe, who's great at playing y'all against each other. And then you got you got Trevor. He don't care. Like Trevor, he's just kind of along for the ride. But but y'all gotta figure out what y'all gonna do, man. Like and Gary, you can't be their best friend, man. I mean, not saying that you shouldn't be friendly with your kids, but you can't be a kid. You can't. Right. I know this sounds weird to say you can't be your kid's friend. All right, because you should be a friend to your kid, but not your kid's friend. Like,
well, when it goes down, you have to be able to be an authority figure because it's imperative. Like they have to know that there are some lines within the family that you need to like some walls you need to stop at. You can't bust through every single wall when it comes to the family, right?
Yeah, Phoebe was showing up doing that, boy.
That was part of his arc in this one, I think. But yeah, I agree. Like I feel like, man, you gotta if you signing up to be the daddy, then you're gonna have to be the daddy, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
There's no way around it. It don't even matter what they call you. What matters is how they interact with you, especially when it's going down.
Yeah,
and for
like,
her,
you know what I'm saying? You gotta come on.
And I mean, her interaction, her being a minor, and her interaction in the organization is causing us to get shut down. So the rubber's meeting the road here. So I have to be a daddy and sideline you, right?
Yeah.
And her mom is authorizing you to do that. And he did the right thing. He told her, like, yo, I don't know what my place is. And she was like, your place is essentially being their dad. So now that you got permission, go ahead, be that daddy.
You know what I'm saying? Look, all you got to do is, Gary, there's a song called Let's Get Married. All right, it's Jagged Edge, Run DMC. It's a remix. You know what I'm saying? Go in and play that. Just be like, meet me at the altar in your white dress, girl. You know what I'm saying? Look, we ain't getting no younger. We might as well do it.
But even if they're not the marrying kind, right? Even if they're not the documents and ceremony kind, is again, that's not the point. The point is we here, we together, we all live in the same house. So my role here is X, right? So once everybody know the role, now the role has to be said. It has to be presented and said. But once that's done, then that's who you are. And it's folly to not make it a pronouncement, to not make it a thing that is, or it's not. It shouldn't be unspoken, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because it seemed like Trevor was kind of cool. He won't like trip it too much, but Phoebe, she gonna push that. Phoebe gonna push that. Yeah. This is a perfect example of like you can't raise all kids the same. See, Trevor seemed pretty cool. Trevor's like, all right, cool. He's essentially sort of like our stepdad now. Word. He ain't see like he was bugging too much. Nah, Phoebe gonna push that. Phoebe like, oh, cool. He's still like our friend, right? He's still, yeah, I'm gonna push this. See, nah, when she called Callie, first thing, my name ain't Callie. My name is Mom. All right.
Straight up.
Oh, I wish I would look at my mom and say, Jean, come on.
Yeah. My mom was more of a pushover, but even her, she wasn't having that kind of stuff. We had to she was like, I'm your mama. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I ain't one of your little friends.
Right. You don't call me by my name. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, you don't know me like that. I mean, you know me, but you don't know me like that. But yeah, I was like, man, Phoebe pushing it. And then, of course, Phoebe having... Oh, go ahead.
So, like you say, you can't raise all kids the same. She's brilliant. Like, she's smart like her grandpa was. Mm-hmm. So, there's no way you can raise her the same as you're going to raise Trevor, because Trevor is like Trevor, one, he's an adult, so he kind of like he in his bag about being an adult. He just want to drive Ecto. You know what I'm saying?
For real, he just
figuring that out. So he ain't tripping off his mom having a relationship and a dude in the house. He like the dude. The dude don't beat his mom. He good, right?
Yeah.
But Phoebe is more nuanced of a person. So, you know, and she's intellectual, but she also kind of like aggressive, right? She like when she want to do
let
something,
it out a couple times. I was like, hold up now.
Yeah. So she'll go in when it's time to go in. So it's like you can't deal with her the way you deal with Trevor. Trevor is a little bit more passive.
Yeah, he's
in the
way
sense
laid
that
back.
he's not gonna argue with you about it, but she will. And so you definitely have to let her know that there are lines that can't be crossed within this family. Like, yeah, we know who you are, but there's a stopping point. When we say, like, a lot of times, what I have always tried to teach Jason since a little baby, because kids, you know, especially in this age of like autism, ADHD, you know, now that we're more aware of those kind of things that can afflict our kids or can not afflict, beset is probably a better word. Now that we're aware of those things, we know that there's sort of different parenting that comes along. And regardless of if he's diagnosed with any of that or not, when we go into a parking lot, he has a tendency to not pay attention. And it's serious, in my opinion, in a parking lot. So his entire life, all he's ever heard from me is, you're in a parking lot, you need to pay attention. Do you see that car coming from the left? Do you see these cars coming from the right? There are people over here. Be aware of your entire surrounding. And even now, he's almost 10 years old. Even now, I'm like, are you paying attention? We're about to cross the street. You know, you're in a parking lot now. Stop playing, you know, because I feel like
worse in parking lots.
People drive worse in parking lots. Sometimes you can't see everything in even me, you know. So, and when I was younger, my little brother got hit by a car. You know what I'm saying? Thank God he was all right afterward, but it's still a thing that happens to kids. So I want him to be almost painstakingly aware that this is not a place where you're looking at your iPad or you're looking at your phone or you're jumping around and having a good time. It's time for you to pay attention. Same thing with wall sockets. I had a thing about wall sockets. I do not want kids to do the wall socket thing, right? And that comes from way back in when I was a little kid, right? But the funny thing about Jason is, even now, because I've been so crazy on that, Jason hesitates to plug in anything into the wall because I was so adamant about him not doing that as a little kid, like as a baby, that even now as an almost 10-year-old, he's like, you want to do it? I'm like, you can plug things in now. I think you're responsible enough to do that.
The funny thing is, always... like, Mikey did that. The little guy did that. He was going to, and I stopped him, like, so, but I yelled because I like dove and yelled and like grabbed his head at the same time, and I scared him. I was like, no, you can't do that. You can't put that in the wall. You know what I'm saying? You can hurt yourself. You can electrocute yourself, stuff like that. And I was just like, just be very careful. Never do that. But yeah, I definitely understand.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would see him. He would just be passing the socket. I'd be like, don't do that. You know, like, so. It's funny now, we laugh about it now, but I'm just saying, like, there are walls that as a parent you want to build up to say, okay, within this house, within this family, this is where you don't cross. And you know, so I agree with you. Yeah, you gotta, if you're gonna be the daddy, then go in on it and be the daddy. And you know, especially now that you've spoken with your significant other about it, and this is the way we gonna do it together, because that's important. But once you did that, it's time to be the daddy. And
like later on, when Callie is like she's criticizing her for something, and like Phoebe looks at Gary like, what you gonna say? And he was like, your
Right.
mother's right, bro. Like, but at first she was like, am I gonna get her out? And he was like, no, your mother's right. And then she got mad about it. But
Well, also, there's a thing about taking the pressure off. Like Callie said it in there. She's like, I don't want to always be the bad guy. We're a team here, right? So sometimes you do have to like take the pressure off your spouse or your significant other and say, look, my foot is down on this thing, right? I'm the thing you can't cross on this thing. And sometimes you have to allow your significant other to be the good guy, right? It's different stages of good cop, bad cop when it comes to dealing with these kids because they crazy.
now, with Phoebe, I want to also jump into the whole thing with Melody. I hope this is something that sticks with Phoebe in two ways. One, that she kind of learns and grows from this and is kind of like, okay, my parents aren't just hating on me, they're actually trying to like keep me safe. But also, I'd like to see if she starts looking up or maybe pursuing ways to get these ghosts to cross over. Is it like maybe like how they have them in the little like what is it the research place? Like you get the ghosts and then we get them at the research place and then we cross them over so we don't have to put them in the trap no more. Now they're part of the essence of the universe or whatever.
Right.
Who knows? I'd be interested in seeing her maybe pursuing that, maybe not as an A plot, but maybe that like still being on her mind every now and then. Because two people that she sort of had a relationship with, well, one definitely with her grandfather, and then one with Melody, which is, I guess a good-ish relationship, even though the girl was kind of like undercover to like swindle her. But, they were both relationships that, she, I guess, assisted in crossing them over, sort of.
Right. Actually, what a good idea for the class 1s and class 2s who were previously human. What a good idea for another function of the Ghostbusters business, right? Like we get your family members to pass on. Another smart way to endear themselves to the public, and another way to expand the universe and what they can do, right? That's actually really smart, right? Like I think they should totally do that. And Phoebe now is the catalyst character for that extension of the Ghostbusters unit. Now, we always have to have, like I'm looking at something here, it's calling them paranormal plumbers. Like we always have to have the paranormal plumber aspect, the blue collar, you got a ghost eating, eating everything out of your pantry. They're exterminators, right? So we always have to have that. But a higher function of that, an evolution of that is your grandma has unfinished business. Let us help her transition. That's a really good idea.
That could be part of like the research.
We should write the Ghostbusters. Sony, where you at, man? We giving y'all gems right now.
Look, man, I don't even know why y'all ain't hollering at us.
I'm saying.
But that I thought that was cool. Like the Melody. Even though I was wondering about Melody, I was like, I don't know, because we never saw this girl in the trailer at all. So I don't know, something's wrong with her. I was like, I don't know if I trust this girl or not. Now, of course, we kind of see she was also being controlled, so that's a whole nother thing. But even the way we had multiple encounters with her, I thought that was cool. And kind of how we learned a little bit more about ghosts through her and her conversations with Phoebe. I will have to say this on the side of being a brother. I don't know how Bokeem Woodbine let his daughter Lucky go to New York to playing around with these crazy people messing with ghosts. Because I wouldn't have did it. I would have been like, you want to go where? Or what? Well, oh no, hold up. I forgot. Lucky's 18. So
what if it's a paid internship though? Paid internship is a paid internship, son.
Yeah, but these people almost blew up our small town. You ain't got no other internships? Well, I mean, Winston do got a lot of money. That's tough. I mean,
Also,
that's
also
tough.
though, you like a Ghostbuster for life though, right? Like
I
that's
mean,
kind of
yeah,
fire.
she did put in work, I guess. Man, I don't know. I might go back. I might go back. I don't know. I don't know how I feel. Because on one hand, as her dad, I'm like, look, there's no way I'm letting you go to New York with these crazy people. All this weird stuff happened to the town. I'm a regular cop, all right, and you just regular person messing with these ghosts. Whatever happened, we just leaving it alone. But she is an adult, and I guess if ghosts do exist, this is the safest place to be. Maybe,
Or maybe she like daddy. She don't seem like she gonna let her daddy tell her where she could go.
Yeah, probably. She like Phoebe in that respect. She ain't nah. She ain't try to hear that.
Yeah.
She like Papa don't preach.
Also, maybe what if he wanted to be a Ghostbuster back in the day, and he like this a fire opportunity for my daughter. You won't be a Ghostbuster, do you think?
You know what? You could be right. So maybe after that, he could have the adverse. It could have another effect where he's like, you know what? These people saved the town, so these people are good. These are essentially heroes. So why not go with these people? And I'm sure I'm sure Winston was like, yo, look, I know what you're saying, but I got you. You know what I'm saying? I'm there. It's gonna be all right. She gonna be in the research. She ain't even gonna be messing with ghosts. Well, I mean, I guess she'll be messing with ghosts, but she gonna be in the research. It's safe there.
I mean, maybe he went to their house, you know what I'm saying? Had broke some bread with them, dapped him off real nice, you know what I'm saying? Talked to him real good,
recruited Lucky, come on through. You can shoot cool guns and stuff at a paper ghost.
Black Ghostbusters, baby. We need some more Black Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's true. He was like, you know what? Look, we need some more Black Ghostbusters. So we're gonna need your help. We're gonna need you to come through. So you know what? I take that back. Maybe he saw ghostbusting in a different light, where he was like, hey, these people saved the town, so it's all good. So I'll let that slide. Then podcast straight line to his parents. Bruh, this man played a tape of he played a tape of a missile launch or a rocket launching in the background. That's not, at least in my mind, that's not what's going on at like space camp.
Well, here's my thing.
I'm like, your parents, they might not be super smart, but come on, man. They think you in the control room or something?
So every time they call you, a missile launch is happening? Like
every single time?
What's really going on?
But seeing podcast, I liked his attitude. One, he's still a very eclectic dresser. But when they went out together, when him and Phoebe went out, he was like, Phoebe and podcast and Phoebe, back to back. We doing our thing. I was like, you know what? I kind of miss this guy. I'm glad he's here. And him and Ray make a lot of sense together, because they're the two true believers. So them doing that YouTube show and him smashing the watch and be like, sorry, lady, the hammer gets the views. Like, it's just those small things about like, all right, this is 2 years later. This is like their daily life. Is it's something that I really dug. It's something that I thought was cool about the movie, and like just giving us like, okay, there's something that's going on right now. There's something brewing, but this is their regular life right now. They're just, they bust a couple ghosts. They're kind of chilling, researching some stuff. Nothing too heavy is going on. Just your regular ghost activity until, of course, Nadim comes in.
Yeah, so that's the perfect. I did like that. Yeah, that's the perfect ambiance for this franchise. Like it's the perfect thing to say. Again, blue collar. That's what it is. It's what we do. We exterminators. Like, and on a day-to-day basis, we're paranormal. We study the paranormal, and we're investigators, right? So, I really like the idea that you start off is like an actual company, right? So you start off low level, you're cleaning up the ghost, you're exterminating the ghost. And as you get older, as you go up, you can become, Winston, or you can become
Yep.
Venkman, or you can become Ray. You know what I'm saying? Whatever your personality is and your field of study or field of interest, but there's certain you start off straight up blue collar, and it's like you learn the business that way. And then if you're into researching paranormals, then you work with Ray. If you're into psychic phenomena, then you mess with Venkman. If you want to be a businessman, you mess with Winston. That's cool to me.
And then, also the fact that podcast brought the little mini puffs, I'm like, I just assumed that they, kind of like got rid of them, or like, why would like, and you sleeping there with them? Like, you trust them enough to? I don't know if I trust these little, I don't know, minions of hate, or like they're just. I don't even know if they're minions of hate. They just destroy each other. So, but I mean, I don't know if I can sleep around them. Like they gotta they gotta go into an aquarium or something. I can't just like leave them out.
I agree with you there too. Like, I'm not sleeping around. What if they jump in your face and suffocate you or something? Like, I'm not sleeping.
I don't trust these things, man. And just because they smiling and stuff, like don't try. I mean, they stole a truck at the end of the movie.
They act like the Mogwai, man. Like, I don't want that.
You know what? They kind of are. They're like gremlins. They're like just, and they're always, but it's not. They don't even really mess with people. They're just always torturing each other, which is weird.
But they got like lighters and flamethrowers and stuff they're doing to each other. Like, okay, but that still could burn down your house, even if
that's true. Yeah,
even if they're not burning you, they're burning each other. Curtains catching on fire, you done.
Mm-hmm. See, that they got to go into a little aquarium or something. We can't just have them out. I want to talk about some of the ghosts that we saw in general. Are there any ghosts that kind of like stood out to you on this? In this movie that we hadn't seen before?
I like Possessor. I think Possessor is the perfect minion for like another ghost, another more senior ghost, another more boss ghost. I like how Possessor got the wax roll for the chant.
Yeah,
I think that was a really cool use of Possessor. So I like the idea of that. Also, that one ghost that was in the new facility, the one that just kept shrinking into the shadows.
Yeah, that's, man. Look, please let there be a director's cut with an extra 30 minutes that we were talking about, and that ghost gets to do something. Because I was like, that ghost is actually kind of scary.
Yeah, I was like, who is that dude?
I think it was like Phoebe. Somebody was at the window, and she was like, "What's in here?" And it didn't look like anything was in there. And then he kind of just slid out from. I was like, "Oh no, son, no, we ain't messing with this one." So, yeah, that ghost. I'd like to see much more about that ghost. Like, but the possessor, I'd agree. The possessor is like Ray said, a master of disguise, because that possessor could essentially just, I mean, it could jump into something and kind of wait, similar to what it did with podcast equipment. It kind of jumped in there and waited to get out, and because the possessor was smart, he was like, I ain't gonna act crazy in here, so I'm gonna wait. Then they got out, and then he waited for the perfect time, or she waited for the perfect time, and then jumped into the little wax roll or whatever, and then ran away. So seeing that, even seeing the library ghost again, which I was surprised the way that scene went down. I thought it went down a different way in the trailer, but that whole sequence of the possessor, the possessor actually, in a bad way, comes in handy.
Yeah, it's the ultimate infiltrator. And yeah, I more ghosts like that, more ghosts that have specialties that the villains can use. Dope. Like, and then we still have Slimer to slime people and whatnot, for the comedy relief and stuff. But also, I like the idea of Ghost perpetuating the myths that we that we've created in our in our lore. Like, because the what was he, the New Jersey sewer monster or whatever he was called, or the
It was the Hell's Kitchen sewer demon or something like that.
yeah, the Hell's Kitchen sewer demon. Like, I like the idea of that, like a chupacabra ghost, or like, a lot of the folklore and myth style ghosts, that we wouldn't, like a Sasquatch. Maybe it's not an actual physical being. Maybe it's just a ghost of something that looks very furry, that kind of thing. Like, I like the idea of that, and using ghosts, because this is a ghost universe, to say that.
What up? Yeah, I like just the way we got those, and also the I guess the manifestation of the different, like them further, I guess, differentiating how they looked. Like the ghost that kept shrinking into the shadows, that was one. And then the possessor is just kind of like a ball of red light. And then you have Slimer, who is, of course, the man is just terrible. It wouldn't even be bad if he cleaned up behind himself. But it's just everywhere. It's just goo everywhere. It's nasty.
I imagine it smells horrible too.
Yeah, it could not be. When he went up in that attic, it could not be fragrant. And then Trevor got slimed twice, man. All right, Trevor, look. All right, matter of fact, Trevor, I did this before in the trailer review, but Trevor, look. I like the fact that you're laid back, but you're gonna need to take more charge when it comes to Slimer. All right, look. When he gets ready to fly towards you, you need to take some authority. All right, put your chest out. All right, stand strong. Let him know that you mean business. All right, let him know that you ain't having this no more. All right, this is gone too far. It's slime coming through the ceiling. It's stinky. It's old food. It's just Trevor, I need you to step your game up. I mean, even Callie was like, "You an adult, right? Go fix it."
The man is laid back, man. He not worried about the details.
He had a good plan with the Cheeto trail. He had a good plan, but then he got scared at the last minute, man. Like, look,
I feel like next one Slimer gonna be his like homeboy, like his roommate or something.
Yo, I could see a sort of Cheech and Chong kind of relationship with them. I can actually see it.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, when he made that Cheeto trail, Slimer puts his hand out, grabs a piece, brings it back in. Then you can see he was like, "This is a little too easy." Slimer's like, "Snacks usually don't come like this. A little too easy."
He ain't that dumb.
Yeah, it's like, look, I like food, but I ain't that dumb. Something ain't right. This is a little too easy. But I mean, he was like, "Oh, Trevor, I'll be all right. I ain't worried about him." See, Trevor, man, you can't. Ghosts have to be scared of you, man. All right, they got to be scared of you. All right, you can't be scared of them. All right, you got to show up.
Real
right?
talk.
You got the suit on now. All right, you got the suit on. You the man. You an adult now. All right, you gotta go up there and just press that button. Open up that trap. You could have got him.
You know what might be fire for the next movie? Like a competing organization.
Huh.
Because the technology is there. I'm sure it's pretty easily researched on the internet or whatever, but another company comes in and they do Ghostbusting better. Kind of like a Twister thing, right? Where we have the blue collar goofy technology over here, but we have like a stream, like if Tony Stark got a hold of,
got a hold of a proton
like
pack.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yo, that messing up all they well gained notoriety. Or
coming in,
or seeing them have to travel somewhere. Like, all the ghosts are not in. Well, I mean, I guess they've already kind of covered that all ghosts are not in New York. So that's something that I did like about Afterlife. But I know there's something special about New York. But it's like, hey, look, ghosts aren't only here. And maybe people might be like, hey, we need y'all to come. We have a huge thing here in, I don't know, Tennessee or Montana or California or something like that.
Yeah, no, the cool thing, I mean, Afterlife was kind of that, where they went to, what was it, Oklahoma?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, I agree. Like, so when you start to add the travel aspect to it, then that means that there is you can add cultural ghosts to the mix and do different things, like we're talking about earlier, adding ghosts that can do other things, or ghosts that translate actual myth and folklore. You go to another country, it's rife with that. So that's more
Yeah.
story possibilities. I mean, imagine if this competing organization is, Japanese or Chinese or Middle Eastern or something. And so then the ghosts in that region are of a different culture. So now, not only are they clashing, trying to do the same thing, but now our Ghostbusters go in, and eventually we got to team up or figure something out to where we can bust this big ghost in this other country, in this other culture.
Yo, man, Ghostbusters International. That's what we talk about right now. Like that.
Real
That
talk.
could work.
Like there's so much you can do with it. And again, like I just like that they're world building now. I think just continue doing that and give me more movies. I'm good. Let's go 10, like Fast and Furious. Let's go. Look, I know people
Yep.
gonna complain or whatever, but I'm in. Like I'm impressed with what they did here. Like I'm in. Let's go. Let's go 10.
All right, what? Well, I guess with that said, hit me with some final thoughts, and where can they find you?
My final thought is, wait, let Kimmy finish talking.
You know what I'm
my
saying?
my
Drop that
final
knowledge.
thought my final thought here is good world building, fun movie. And yeah, I think keep going. This path is the path forward for Ghostbusters. Also, man, let's get a Sam Hain movie in this piece. Like I would love that. I would love
Yeah.
that. So yeah, let's go forward on this same path. I enjoyed myself. You can find your boy, y'all know, 133art.com is the hub. 133art publish at 133art publishing and at 133art on all social media. And let me tell you, we just dropped One Nation #5. A new One Nation just came out. One Nation is our flagship title. One Nation Arc 1 consists of the first 6 issues, but we still got 5 issues of One Nation for y'all to get. And #5 of the main series just dropped. And it's one of my proudest issues.
That's nice.
It's action adventure at its finest. And I think y'all need to go to 133art.com and cop either the digital or the print version or both.
It's action or action, y'all.
Yeah.
And some globetrotting too.
Oh yeah, we international. The One Nation crew, the 10th Foundation is international. We in what were we in? We're in the Amazon in this issue, doing our thing. We in the LA for a little bit, Like, look, Sundian and his people are globe-trotting superheroes and philanthropists.
Yup. So don't sleep. Don't sleep. All right. I guess on my end, final thoughts. This is something that I really enjoyed as far as just the family and the world building aspect, like you said before. I wanted more from the villain. If anything, I say more. It's tough because I think I know where Sony wants to take Ghostbusters as a brand. So maybe me asking for something that's a little scarier is just not going to happen. But I would love to have something that's a little more scarier and something that focuses on the villain a little bit more. But beside this, man, I like the characters. I like the heart to heart between Winston and Ray. I love the banter between all of the characters. Like even I can't remember James Acaster's character. I can't remember his name, but when he keeps trying to get these silent, like the audio files. People keep interrupting him. Nadeem, I'm not sure if we'll see him again, but if so, that'll be cool. Just those little things where we've added in characters now that could be brought back later. I think it's smart for the world building aspect. And then it seemed like everyone came and had a good time making this movie. So keep making these movies in a way where everyone has a good time, and it shows on screen. I dig it. So with that said, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, podcast, all that jazz. And until the next time, this is us to you saying, if there's something strange in your neighborhood, you know who to call. Peace.
Ghostbuster makes me feel good.
Yes, it does. She was like, get out of here.
That's right.